Hey guys, so last night I just did a review for Logan, which, by the way, I checked the Oscars nominees, and it turns out it's nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. Well, at first I was hoping it would be nominated for Best Picture, Best Actor, and but not exactly what I expected. But it deserved an Oscar, so that's a pass. That's definitely a pass. And anyways, um, sorry. Tonight I will be reviewing Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope, which is it was originally titled Star Wars back when it came out in 1977. But I mean, I still call it Episode 4, even though it was originally titled Star Wars. So, yep, this is like the one movie that started it all. I mean, Star Wars has been had like a huge impact on my life because as a kid, I mean, I watched the prequels. I mostly liked Episode 2 right when I was like around 4 or 5 because of Yoda. But but as I got older, I kind of realized that some of the prequels were kind of stupid, even though some of them had their moments. Episode 3 is the watchable prequel. That's all I gotta say about that. But the original trilogy is an absolute masterpiece. So we just begin with Episode 4, and we see this cruiser flying by trying to escape a Star Destroyer, and right when the Star Destroyer is and we get this feeling of how much of a good grip that the Empire has against the rebellion. And it was in this scene we get introduced to one of the greatest villains in cinema history, Darth Vader. And Darth Vader is one of my favorite villains ever. I even dressed up as a Darth Vader for Halloween one time about a few years ago when I was a kid. And we had a Star Wars Halloween. I was Darth Vader and my sister was Princess Leia. Oh my god, she was so adorable. I mean, to this day, she said she hated it. I don't care what she says. She's absolutely cute as Princess Leia. I mean, she was like a baby at the time, so yeah. I mean, the casting in the in Episode 4 is great. I mean, I love the original trilogy's cast. Mark Hamill is great as Luke Skywalker. Harrison Ford, amazing as Han Solo. Carrie Fisher, oh my god, rest in peace, is hands down amazing as Leia. And Alec Guinness plays as Ben Kenobi, aka Obi-Wan Kenobi. And he was also nominated for Best Supporting Actor for his role. And I can't say that I'm surprised. Sorry, I mean, this was like hanging. So I'll just throw that away. Anyways, so back to the movie's plot. So it begins with, with, like I said, the Star Destroyer. We see Darth Vader. And so C-3PO and R2 escape using an escape pod, while the stormtroopers kill most of the rebels there and capture Leia. So then in the next scene we can get introduced to Luke. And there's one scene in this movie is like one of the most beautiful scenes in the entire saga is when Luke steps outside and there's the sunset and we get this theme from John Williams. It is absolutely beautiful. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, no debate. I mean, that's one of the most beautiful moments in the entire saga. I mean, Luke staring at the sunset and John Williams' score. Oh my god, John Williams. Like I said, there is nobody who can do better scores for movies than John Williams because I absolutely love his scores. I mean, sometimes I would hum them. I would go. And sometimes when I had the trumpet, I mean, back in sixth grade, I would do the Imperial March. I would go. But the Imperial March doesn't appear until Empire Strikes Back. And I was like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 when I first watched episode 4. And I can't believe I'm gonna say this. At first, when I watched it, I was bored watching it and I'm like, I know what you're about to say. You're like, are you out of your mind? Yeah, I felt like I was out of my mind when I said that. But as I got older, I saw this as a masterpiece, like all the other movies in the original trilogy. It's just, I love Star Wars. I absolutely love Star Wars. And then we're later introduced to Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he tells Luke about the Clone Wars and his time as a Jedi, and about the Force. Well, the Force is what gives a Jedi his power. It's an energy field created by all living things that surrounds us and penetrates us and binds the galaxy together. And that was a great scene. And then we are first shown the lightsaber, which is one of the greatest weapons in cinema history. Because, I mean, as a kid, I always wanted a lightsaber. I mean, I would mostly carry a blue or green or red, because that was like the only colors that I had. I didn't have a purple lightsaber as a kid, but I mostly liked green because it was the color of like Yoda's and Luke's lightsaber, because he didn't get a green lightsaber until Return of the Jedi. So then after all that, then we're first shown the Death Star. I mean, it's like the size of a moon. I mean, when I first watched that as a kid, I was like, that looks like the moon. But I mean, it's like an armored space station that looks like a moon, but it has like a big laser gun that's capable of destroying an entire planet, and that's like the Empire's ultimate weapon. And I like in one scene when Darth Vader's like, "Don't be too proud of this technological terror you constructed. The ability to destroy a planet is insignificant next to the power of the Force." And he force chokes this one guy. He's like, "I find your lack of faith disturbing." And Tarkin, who's played by Peter Cushing, is like, "Enough of this, Vader, release him." And Vader's like, "As you wish." And he lets him go. And James Earl Jones, and without a doubt, I absolutely love it when he voices Darth Vader, because when you hear that voice, it's like so menacing, and he's like I said, he's like the perfect Star Wars villain, because although there's like other Star Wars villains in the franchise, there's like a certain few that I like, but I'll get to that later. So anyway, when Luke goes back home and he finds Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru dead. I mean, their bodies are burnt to a crisp. He's like, he turns back and he just looks back. And he's like, he goes back to Obi-Wan and he's like, I'll go with you to Alderaan. There's nothing left for me here. I want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father. And then they go to Mos Eisley, and that's one of the best scenes in the movie, is when we get introduced to Han and Chewie. And, oh my god, without a doubt, Han definitely shot first. There's no debate. I mean, I love that one scene when Greedo was like, "Tu te portas solo?" Yes, Greedo, as a matter of fact, I was just going to see your boss. Tell Jabba I got his money. So, chitale, para catul koska. Jabba le kike koska lursale, chapakari la vista. And then when Han is like slowly getting out his blaster, he's like, and Greedo was like, "Jump on the keys, the Glinko, the Oscar." And Han's like, "Yes, I bet you have." When I watched the original version of the movie on VHS, Han definitely shot first. There's no debate. He shot first. End of story. And God, I love this movie. I love Star Wars. And then we're showing the Millennium Falcon. And I like when Luke says, "What a piece of junk." And I'm like, dude, that's the Millennium Falcon. The ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. Yep. So they go into light speed and they head to Alderaan, but they head there a little too late because the Empire destroyed Alderaan using the Death Star. And even though they were trying to make Leia give up the location of the Rebel base, and Leia's like, "No, Alderaan's peaceful. You can't just..." And Tarkin's like, "Would you prefer another target, a military target? Then name the system." And she was like, "Dantooine. They're all Dantooine." And no matter what she said, I mean, Tarkin was like, "Continue with the operation. You may fire when ready." And they blow up Alderaan. Wah, wah, wah. And then when they, I like that one scene when Obi-Wan's like, "That's no moon. It's a space station." Right when they get to the Death Star, and the Death Star has like, I mean, when they enter the Death Star, they have some of the best scenes in the movie. Like when they go to rescue Leia and they enter the trash compactor, and they were like, and Han was like, "The garbage chute was a really wonderful idea. What an incredible smell you discovered." I could not stop laughing when I first heard that. He was like, "What an incredible smell you discovered." And the moment when they're almost about to get crushed, it also adds up some suspense a bit, because they're like, you really care about these characters and you hope that nothing's going to happen to them, and hopefully, I mean, good thing they were saved in the nick of time thanks to R2 and C-3PO. And then there's the lightsaber duel between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. So Obi-Wan sacrifices himself so Luke and the others can escape. And then we get the TIE fighter scene, and of course, John Williams score, I love it. Like I said, John Williams score in this movie and the entire franchise, it's absolutely amazing. It's A+. And I'll just get to the end of the movie, is like when they all get to Yavin 4 to prepare the attack on the Death Star. And I like the one part when they entered the trench and Luke was about to, like, he's using his targeting computer, he's like nearly there, and Obi-Wan was like, "Use the Force, Luke." And when Vader's like right behind him using his TIE Fighter, he's like, "The Force is strong with this one." And right when he was about to shoot Luke, he's like, "I have you now." And Han like saves him just in the nick of time. He's like, "Yahoo!" And Luke fires the proton torpedoes, and they go down to that hole and then blows up the Death Star. I literally love that scene. It's like one of the best scenes in the movie. And after that, Obi-Wan says, "Remember, the Force will be with you always." And then there's the throne room scene, and they get their medals, and that's the end of the episode 4. I absolutely love episode 4, and absolutely gets an A+. There's no debate. It's a great movie. Even nominated for Best Picture. I mean, this is one of the best movies of the Star Wars franchise. And tomorrow I'll get to my next review, which will be about Empire Strikes Back. Jeannie, Owen, and Daniel, if you guys are watching this, I love you guys, and anybody else, feel free to give me more requests for what you want me to review. And Nikki, if you're also watching this, I love you so much. And adios, guys.